Hey there, welcome to the DFS Build NBA edition. We just cranked out an MLB video for today, so be sure to check that out. If you want NBA advice and you like what we see here, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on our next video. If you also want to have extra help, you can head to our free Discord or check out our Patreon for our finalized core plays for a ton of sports. Just go check it out and see what we have to offer. All right, position by position is how we do it. Over at point guard, James Harden leads the way with a 47-point fantasy projection, carrying a little bit of ownership and honestly kind of cheap for who he has been for most of the year. What are your thoughts on Harden today?
I don't love the matchup. Don't really love the spot in general. Point guard looks like a pay down position overall with so much value. So he's someone you can always play, but not someone I'm really dying to do tonight.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really like anything up top. Like you could make a case for Harden or Booker or Curry, but I'm not really into it. You know, the Cavs guys are all there, so like they kind of eat into each other. Evan Mobley's back. I think it all starts with Jose Alvarado at 5.1K. There's no CJ, there's no Zion, so he looks good. There's no Cade, so Dennis Schroeder looks good. Gosh, LaMelo's out. You can look at KJ Simpson, and then the best play of the slate possibly, Tyler Kolek. There's no McBride. There's no Jalen Brunson, and there's no what's his freaking name? Campaign. So like he's been getting like 7 to 9 assists every game off the bench, even. So like I can't understand why he wouldn't start at this point. When I first looked at this earlier, his projection was really terrible, and I don't think it moved much. It's not good. But if Tibbs sticks to his form, man, Kolek should start and play like 35 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see if he does. They have DeLon Wright, the corpse of DeLon Wright. They can play off the bench, I guess, but
yeah,
he's cheap. I do like him a lot. I think Sasser at a similar price is fine. I still like Schroeder a lot. Last game was a blowout, but still no Cade. Cleveland game is a pretty tight spread with the Cavs on a back-to-back, so I don't mind Schroeder at 5-1. I think he might be my favorite of the cheap point guards right now.
Yeah, you will certainly have to pick a spot, although Schroeder and Hawkins are shooting guard eligible, so that is nice. I mean, right now, Kolek at 3.2, that's going to be tough to ignore. If you're hesitant about Schroeder, that's when you can start looking at Marcus Sasser, like you were kind of alluding to. I mean, like that's recency bias in a nutshell, though. Like Schroeder he was last time a good play. Like he projected really, really well last time.
I think so.
That's it did. He didn't really get there at first anyways, but yeah, I mean, like we can't let that dictate everything for us just because it didn't work one time. I think Schroeder's still in play for sure. I think right now, because of where I want to go, I prefer Sasser, but Schroeder is a certainly more optimal play. All right, at shooting guard, up top, Devin Booker, Ant, like you can play them. They're fine. They do have upside. Devin Booker against the Wolves, not super into that. Anthony Edwards with everybody there for Minnesota. I don't know. Like they do have ceilings. They can erupt. Like right now, it's been mostly the KD show for Phoenix. I'm not super excited to play Booker. You can use a lot of the values we just talked about at shooting guard. Once again, I think I just want to save here.
Yeah, I do think Edwards is one of the better ones you can have. Just for the dollar, really good matchup against Phoenix.
Unowned.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he will be, but I think he should be highly owned. He's been kind of underwhelming lately, but you got to spend money somewhere with all the value we have. I think Edwards is awesome. I think Booker, like you said, is okay. I do prefer KD between the two. I like game stacking those two together. Edwards with Durant. Mitchell's fine, 8,800. Otherwise, just kind of going cheap. Sexton, if he's in, Sasser, Jacoby Walter is still under 4K. So there's a lot down there on the low level. And then maybe some Denver stuff if Jamal Murray's out. But
imagine taking Jacoby Walter dives when you have all this other value. What a time to be alive.
I mean, you're playing Tyler Kolek. It's not like he's an established name compared to Jacoby Walter.
You bite your tongue when you're talking about Tyler Kolek. All right, over at small forward. Oh, by the way, we'll mention Podziemski looks pretty good. He's okay anyways at 6.1, but if Curry's out, he'd look really, really good. Small forward, Scotty Barnes leads the way, but that's not saying much because we never know how many minutes he's going to play. In theory, 8.5K. If we get 30 minutes of Barnes at 8.5 against the Hornets, like it's okay. It is. It's okay. I'm not doing it personally, but you could. Jimmy Butler is a good play if Curry is out. Not really going to pay 8.7K if Curry is in. Kawhi with everybody there at 8.8. Nope. OG is fine. Hart is fine. This is another spot where we could save some cash. There's no Dame, possibly no Giannis. So Kuz is a good play anyways. But if Giannis is out, Kuz would be a core play at 6.2. Azar Thompson with no K at 4.5. I like that. Gary Trent at 4.7 with no Dame. I don't mind that. I think Asar Thompson is slightly a better play. What are you liking at small forward?
The three Knicks I always like. No Brunson, like no point guards and all that. So usage for them goes up. Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, and Josh Hart. Asar Thompson, like you mentioned, I like. DeAndre Hunter without Strus and without Ty Jerome, I think could start. For Cleveland, 4,700 against Detroit in a pretty good game environment. I do like that quite a bit. He might be my favorite overall value at small forward or power forward at 4.7. Beasley, without Cade is okay, not something that's super exciting. Sensabaugh would be on my radar again if Utah punts the game. I assume they will on a back-to-back. They played last night, so Sensabaugh could be cleared as a value. Would be a pretty good one at 3.7 if we get him.
Yeah, we just are waiting on the Lowry news, and you never know if Walker Kessler is going to sit. I agree. Sensabaugh is totally fine. At power forward, Giannis leads the way. He is questionable, but if he's in with no Dame, he is a little bit too cheap at 11.5. Yeah, he looks really good. Looks like he's going to be owned. Don't mind him. I prefer to do something else on this slate, but if you want to go Giannis, no qualms about it. KD looks really good. The matchup is not amazing, but KD has been on fire. 60-plus fantasy points in 2 of his last 3. 30-plus real points in 3 straight. He is cooking. But I like Miles Bridges. If Giannis is out and we're just looking at KD up there, I think Miles Bridges looks really, really good without LaMelo. 8.9 is a little bit pricey, but not too pricey for what he's been doing. By the way, 8.2 on FanDuel. Major, major good play on FanDuel. I just think he's a way better play than Jimmy, Kawhi, Evan Mobley. But you could certainly argue KD there for sure.
Yeah, I think Bridges is probably your best play there, non-Giannis division.
Yeah.
Toronto, they're tanking. No LaMelo, like you said. No Brandon Miller, obviously. So,
any concern about a tank fest, though?
I don't know. Is Charlotte really actively tanking? I feel like they're still giving their guys minutes.
Yeah, that's true, but they do sit somebody key every other day.
Yeah, but he's not sitting, so I assume he's going to be good to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel pretty good about it. Toronto is such trash that I'm okay with it.
Yep.
Giannis, if he's in, I do slightly prefer to Jokic just because Jokic's game has pretty severe blowout risk. And if Giannis is in, it's Giannis with no Dame. I don't think he'll be limited. That game has a pretty tight spread against the Knicks. So
very low total, though.
Yeah, but I'm not too concerned. He's going to have it all to himself. So I do think Giannis is a pretty strong play, especially if Jokic. I mean, the Nuggets are 17-point favorites. You're pretty likely to not get a full allotment of Jokic minutes. So
18.
Paying top dollar, you're getting a pretty good discount on Giannis, $800. So both are great plays. I do prefer Giannis, though, as of now, if he's in, obviously. And then Evan Mobley, unowned, should be fresh. Didn't play last night, so 8,600 against Detroit. I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you can always play Evan Mobley if you want to. Don't really like playing Cavs when they're 8.5 to 9K when they're all there and all the main guys are there. I'd rather go. I like the DeAndre Hunter call before. I'd rather go value there if I was going to do anything. Kelly Olynyk, 5.8K. Price is coming up, but no Zion, so he's going to have a role as long as the game against the Warriors stays close. He would play if the game goes small, and it would be Misi that would end up sitting, I would imagine. So I think he looks really good. If you want to play for the blowout there, you can go get Carlo Makovich. But I don't think I don't feel compelled to do that. I like the Giannis call. I prefer Jokic, and we'll talk about him right now. Here's the thing. There is blowout risk, but he's got a way softer matchup, way higher total, possibly no Jamal Murray, which just enhances his usage and increases the likelihood that Utah, even against their will, could keep this game a little bit closer than people anticipate. Jokic could get 50 at the half, and he could get 70 after 3 quarters. We know that's what he's capable of doing. So I just still like Jokic here, but if you want to play Giannis and take the savings, that's totally fine. Plus, you can use him at forward. There's also Cat, who's projecting for over 50 fantasy points once again, and he's the least owned of that trio. So I imagine you're going Giannis over the other 2 guys here.
Yeah, I don't mean that in that Jokic is a bad play. Obviously, he's never a bad play. And I think it's possible, depending on what value opens up, to get them both. And if that's the case, I mean, you can do it right now. Schroeder and Hawkins and Jacoby Walter and Kolek, things like that make that doable. So pairing Giannis and Jokic is totally fine. And if I'm playing one lineup, that's probably what I'd do.
Yeah, that stretches you a little bit thin. All right, if you're not going to pay up at center, is there anything in the mid-range that you're liking? Oh, he got bumped. All right. Well, never mind. He cannot give us any extra insight. So let's just run over some of these mid-range guys at center. So Mark Williams does not really get like a full complement of minutes all the time, but if he is going to be out there for 30 minutes, 8.2K against the Raptors, who cannot stop anybody inside, I don't hate it. It's an okay GPP play. Nobody's going to play him. Jalen Duren at 7.2 with no Cade. He's not really normally going to pick up like a ton of extra usage. He had to dip. That's okay. He had something going on. But yeah, so Jalen Duren, elevated price tag, not super into that. He does project well. And if like the Pistons are going to stay in the game against the Cavs, somehow they're only a 6-point dog at home without Cade. I don't really understand that. Feels a little bit trappy. Feels weird. But if the game stays close, Duren's probably going to get there. No doubt about it. Zubac at 8.1, he's okay. Certainly a good price, but when all the Clippers are healthy, not like super, super excited to play him, to pay up for him. Walker Kessler, in theory, would be an interesting play if you think the Jazz can keep it close. 7K, monstrous upside. The Nuggets are really bad inside. I don't think I really want to play many Jazz because obviously the blowout risk is very, very real here. 18-point spread. You do not see that very often. And Utah doesn't want to win. If Walker's ruled out, though, Kyle Filipowski at 6K flat in a game with a 240 total, yeah, sign me up for that. I think you can play Jazz guys. I just don't think I'm going to do that. I'll play Jokic. I really like Jokic tonight. Down low, let's see. Like Nurkic, if Mark Williams gets ruled out randomly, as he is one to do, 3.9K. If he starts against the Raptors, he would be a core play. He looks really good. Jarrett Allen comes back down, smashed yesterday. He's not going to be as appealing now with Evan Mobley back. Naz Reid off the bench at 5.7. You can use him at power forward as well. Always like him with his usage off the bench. And then, of course, Rudy Gobert, 6.3K. Like all the guys are there for Minnesota, so his actual usage isn't going to be very good. But we know he can dominate the glass and get block shots. And going up against the Suns, who just have nothing inside. So I don't think he's a terrible, low mid-range value at 6.3. And then Brook Lopez, no Dame, so he's just naturally going to have a little bit more usage. He's probably going to get more run than usual. He smashed last time with 47 fantasy points, 2 mega good games in a row, major minutes as well. So his minutes aren't going to go down. The usage is going to be there. And if Giannis is out, it's just like to the nth degree. So he's going to look really, really good if Giannis doesn't play. As far as pure punts, we can always play the blowout or foul trouble game with Jalen Duren and go play Isaiah Stewart, 3.4K. Like it is a nice spread, but without K, like the Pistons could easily get totally shellacked here. I would not be surprised whatsoever. All right, that is probably going to do it for the position by position breakdown. For flake plants, like the ownership right now obviously is favoring a stars and scrub build. Jokic, Giannis, and Kat are all coming in with 26+% ownership. I think you got to play at least one of them. Right now, I am leaning Jokic. Taylor suggested that you could pair 2 of these guys. That's certainly in play too. But you do have to take a lot of dives here. Like you have to play Tyler Kolek, you have to play Marcus Sasser. Like you got to play some pretty risky plays, and you have to play more than a couple of them. If you make that build and it feels good, I think it's more than palatable just because those guys have the highest ceilings of the slate and they project incredibly well. And they're going to be owned. Like usually when these guys are this owned, it's even scarier to fade them because if a ton of the field has Jokic and he gets 80 or a ton of the field has Giannis and he gets 70, like you are just really in trouble if you do not have those raw points in your lineup. I agree with Taylor that Ant is a good GPP play. And then KD is not going to be owned. But I think Miles Bridges, just dollar for dollar, is probably my favorite play in the second tier. Like I like him better than Kawhi and Jimmy and Barnes, and I like him better than Booker, KD, or Ant. I just think he's a better play. He's going to have the offense all to himself, and he's just as low owned as those other guys too. But yeah, so that is going to do it for me. If this helps you in any way, definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, come join us in Discord and talk shop, and then also check out our Patreon packages to see if there's anything that is interest to you. All right, thanks for watching and good luck.